Hello everyone, following on from my video this morning, I thought, "Do you know what? Why don't I go straight to Freeagent and ask Ben Morley to give us some information on how Freeagent is calculating their quarterly updates, how the submission process looks, what information you're going to be submitting, and what the period ends are all about." So here we go.
Historically, pre-December 22, the quarters were going to be standalone, static. So what that meant is if you were in quarter three and your client had been like, "Oh, Tom, sorry, I forgot to give you this invoice," but it's in quarter one, you would then have to undo Q3, Q2 to get back to Q1 to then make that change and then resubmit Q1, Q2 to get back to Q3, which, as we all know, that's not one click of a button, that's like
Mm,
50 clicks of a button. It's just going to be really inefficient. So when Rachel Reeves made that announcement that MTD is coming back, there was this change from the quarters moving from static to cumulative. So what that means is when you're in Q1, you submit Q1. When you're in Q2, you're doing Q1, Q2. When you're in three, you're doing one, two, three. And when you do Q4, doing one, two, three, and four. From an update point of view, that's a lot better because when you've got your client that comes to you and says, "Tom, I've got this invoice, but it's in Q1," that's great, that's fine. You just go in, you add the invoice, you do all the transactional things that you need to do, and then you just send update and it will then do that update. Where a lot of the confusion is come is that some of the softwares are doing how they've gone about doing the submissions is different. So the way that, and I can only talk for the way that Free Agent's done it. I can talk a little bit about the way Tax Calc's done it because they've done it very similar to the way we've done it. So for us, if you go into a license, you go into the tax year. Now, this is on a sandbox environment because this is the only way that we can show how to do the submissions. Because what we're doing with this environment is sending information to HMRC and they're just sending dummy data back to us. So
right.
it doesn't actually mean anything. So the figures don't mean anything. It's just for us to be able to check how things work.
Okay.
As you can see here, we've not really got anything done. So if I click on the send update button, which will then pull through, you can then see that we've then got Q1, which is the 6th of April to the 5th of July, Q2, which again is from the 6th of April but to October, 6th of April to Jan, and then 6th of April to the 5th of April. Now, for those that are on month end, what happened was we were told to build it this way because month end quarters hadn't been created yet from HMRC's point of view. And they said when it does get created, you are going to be able to do a submission to then add in the additional transactions from Q1 from the 1st to the 5th. So if we select Q2 and then click, so it'll tell you here, quarterly standard, income and expenses totals. So it tells you here the dates that you're actually going to be doing, and then you just click send update, and that's it. And then that'll take you back and it'll process. We've got how long the percentage it is to complete. Uh, don't worry about like the end of year. We've just not changed this to annual summary because we don't. It's because I reset my data. That's why it failed.
Hmm.
Don't worry about that. The main purpose of this is just to show that actually it just does the dates. And if you were in, as we've like gone past the quarter end, if we were then going to say, right, okay, we're actually in Q3, but we're still doing Q2, it will still only do up to the month end of that quarter. It won't then go, actually, you're in Q3, let's now submit those transactions. Well, it won't do that. You have to physically tell it to do those.
Right. Okay.
And that's it.
Perfect. So is there, I know with Free Agent, is there the opportunity for me to say, "I'm submitting it on the 21st of July. I want the tax calculation to include Q1 to the 30th of June plus the 21 days," when you're doing the quarterly update? Or is it once you set the times, that is it, that you're stuck on it?
No, no, no. So you change this, you literally select which one you want. So if you're in like, we've completed Q1, we've tidied all that bookkeeping up, we're happy with that, but we're now on, say, the 21st of July, you'll just say, okay, I want to submit up to this date,
Right.
uh, up to this one, but it would only submit the transactions up to the date that you're on. It won't
Right.
go actually further than that.
That's perfect. Yeah. So that, well, that explains it then. So I know with other software providers, you don't get to choose the quarter. When you submit the quarterly update, it's just cumulative up to that date. So no, that's really helpful, Ben. Really appreciate that. Is there anything else you want to highlight with Free Agent before we go?
Um, to be honest, with MTD, I think the biggest thing is what a lot of people are forgetting is that it goes on the national insurance number, not the UTR. So if you've got a husband and wife, and within Free Agent, you'd be able to do both of their submissions on the one license. But if you don't act for, say, the wife, you just don't put in their national insurance number.
Right.
Uh,
Okay.
uh, what I've been saying is have a discussion with the other accountant. If you get on with that other accountant, you might come to a deal where you say, actually, I've done the bookkeeping, I'll make that submission. That was up until the insurance and discussion has come to light, which means that you might have to have some sort of authorization to do that because you're not acting for them, and that's where
Yeah.
like the secondary bit comes in. I do know that we're now looking at building a authorization process, digital e-signature process. Um, but then there was another question about would you have to redo it if it's changed between, say, you send it on the Monday and you come to do it on press the button on the Thursday and something's changed. So there's all that sort of thing that we've got to sort of look at. But I'm sure there's some very clever boffins in the tax team that they'll be able to work out something.
Yeah, it's interesting you mentioned about the national insurance number. It hadn't occurred to me actually. I just assumed it was all going to be done through UTR. So yeah, that's a new one on me.
Yeah.
So thank you for that.
I think the reason for it being on the national insurance number is that the old self-assessment system's using the UTR, and
Mhm.
until they sunset that, it's gonna stop that complication and that mix-up, which you can
Yeah.
sort of understand. There's enough issues around the complexity of it to start with anyway. There's if they can make it simpler on their end, so be it.
That doesn't sound like HMRC, does it? Making it simple.
No comment.
Yeah. Well, Ben, thank you so much for that. And it's great that we have got you in the MTD therapy chat because, like, you know, every time there is an issue, we know we can rely on you and Ben from TaxCalc to give your thoughts on how your software is dealing with it. So we really appreciate that. And if you've
That's
got any
great.
more questions for Ben, pop them in the comments below. Hi, folks. Hopefully, you found that really helpful. And a big thank you to Ben from Free Agent for giving up his time this afternoon to talk us all through that. It's been incredibly helpful and insightful. So, I think we're going to leave it there. Now, we obviously have a lot of information to digest over the next few days. The software providers hopefully are all going to come out and talk to us about what it is that their product is going to do, how it's going to calculate the quarter update tax calculation, what information it's going to take, and how they're going to submit it. Now, if you're an accountant and you're not currently a member of the MTD Therapy Group, it's a great opportunity to join now. We have got members that are in testing, members that are against testing, members that are pro testing. There's a lot of discussions going on all of the time. So if you're interested, pop us a comment below and we'll send you the link. Cheers. Bye.